The 2021 Formula One season was both fierce and entertaining, as seven-time F1 champion Lewis Hamilton and 24-year-old Max Verstappen battled for the Drivers' Championship until the final lap of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The competition between both Mercedes and Red Bull drivers was intense all season, with several crashes and digs thrown at each other. However, in the 2022 season, both racing teams and drivers appeared to be worlds apart, with Red Bull and Max Verstappen leading the charge to win both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships, while Mercedes and Hamilton struggled to get the most out of their W13. Nonetheless, it appears their jibes at each other continue, as Verstappen recently fired back at Hamilton after his remark on the Dutch driver. What did Lewis Hamilton have to say? Why is Verstappen so upset with the British driver? During the 2022 British Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari's Charles Leclerc battled for third place around the outside of Silverstone's high-speed Copse corner. The incident was described as quite on the limit by the Monegasque racing driver, as he had to defend his position at the Copse corner until he eventually lost it to Hamilton at the Stowe corner. He said, "I had to be on the limit to try and keep my positions. I don't think I could have done much better than that. I was always checking that Lewis was a bit behind at the apex, to try and remember the rule and to play with the rules. So I tried to do my best." Hamilton, who was on the receiving end of Leclerc's defense, praised the Ferrari driver's driving sense, given that Hamilton and Red Bull's Max Verstappen collided at the same Copse corner the year before. "Charles did a great job. What a great battle. He's a very sensible driver, clearly a lot different to what I experienced last year. At Copse, for example, the two of us went through there with no problem. What a battle," said the 37-year-old driver. The 2021 British Grand Prix Hamilton made mention of had provided him with an opportunity to close the drivers' standings gap Verstappen had over him. The Dutch driver, on the other hand, had won the pole position for the race, and as such was also attempting to extend his lead. However, from the first lap of the race, Verstappen was under attack from the Mercedes driver, with Hamilton attempting an overtake in Turn 1 at Abbey, Turn 3 Village, and Turn 6 Brooklands. Hamilton eventually went wheel-to-wheel with Verstappen's car at the Old Pit Straight when he attempted an overtake at Turn 9, also known as the Copse Corner. And as the British driver attempted to overtake Verstappen, his front left tyre clipped Verstappen's right rear, thereby sending Verstappen into the tyre barrier at 180 miles per hour with a 51G impact. The Dutch driver, however, escaped the incident unscathed, but was taken to the Circuit Medical Centre before being referred to the local hospital. Lewis Hamilton eventually won the race, claiming all 25 points despite being given a 10-second penalty following an investigation by the FIA race stewards found him guilty of causing the collision. The seven-time world champion, who told his team engineers on the radio after the incident that Verstappen was the one who turned in on him, refused to apologise, saying, "I don't think I'm in the position to have to apologise for anything. We're out there racing." Christian Horner, Red Bull team principal, was however displeased with the accident, and even more so with Hamilton's post-race celebration, saying, "Lewis Hamilton is an 8-time world champion. He shouldn't be making manoeuvres like that. It's unacceptable. Copse is one of the fastest corners in the world. You don't stick a wheel up the inside, that's just dirty driving." The Silverstone incident was, however, not the only time Hamilton and Verstappen were involved in a wheel-to-wheel collision in the 2021 season, as they both crashed out on the 26th lap of the 2021 Italian Grand Prix. At the Italian Grand Prix, both Hamilton and Verstappen had only 5 points separating them before the race at the Monza circuit, and none of the drivers was willing to give up their position on the circuit once the race began. Eventually, they went wheel-to-wheel through the first chicane, and given that Hamilton's car was ahead and Verstappen hung on the outside of the right-hand part of the chicane, they collided at the apex of the left-hander, sending Verstappen flying and standing over Hamilton's car after the Dutch driver hit the sausage curb. Both drivers were unharmed by the incident, but Hamilton insisted that Verstappen knew exactly what was going to happen and still proceeded. He just didn't want to give way today, and he knew when he was going into 2 what was going to happen, but he still did it, Hamilton said. As a result of the incident, Verstappen was given a 3-place grid penalty for the next race, and he responded by accusing Hamilton of squeezing him. "If he would have left me just a car width, we would have raced out of turn 2 anyway, and I think he would have probably still been in front. But he just kept on pushing me wider, and at one point there was nowhere to go," Verstappen said. Also, during the second free practice session of the 2021 United States Grand Prix, both drivers were involved in another wheel-to-wheel incident, prompting Verstappen to make a middle finger gesture at Hamilton and bluntly call Hamilton a stupid idiot on the team's radio. At the 2021 Brazilian Grand Prix, they had another wheel-to-wheel battle in turn 4 of the 48th lap, after Verstappen, who was defending his lead, forced Hamilton off the road and only 5 to 10 meters into the bend as the British driver appeared to overtake the Dutch driver when he moved around the outside. Hamilton eventually won the race and the stewards ruled the incident fair. The pair was once again involved in another wheel-to-wheel incident at the penultimate race of the 2021 season. The incident left both drivers angry and even caused Verstappen to skip the usual podium celebration. Max Verstappen received a 5-second and a 10-second penalty for 2 separate incidents involving him and Hamilton, and the 7-time champion described the Red Bull drivers' driving as over the limit, saying, "I really just had to try and keep my cool out there, which was really difficult to do. I've avoided collision on so many occasions with the guy, and I don't always mind being the one that does that, because you live to fight another day, which I obviously did," Hamilton said. However, due to the 2022 FIA regulations on F1 car downforce, the pair have faced different realities this season, as the Mercedes driver has yet to win a race, while Verstappen has won 6 races so far. But they have had one wheel-to-wheel encounter this season at the Montreal circuit. During the 2022 Canadian Grand Prix, Verstappen pitted earlier for fresh tyres, and as he made his way out of the pit, he ran behind Hamilton, and this left him frustrated. "Why didn't you make sure I came out ahead?" Verstappen shouted on the team radio. Nonetheless, regardless of their previous season's rivalry, Max Verstappen has always insisted that he holds Hamilton in high regard, and as such, he always moves on from their collision. Lewis Hamilton, who called the 2021 Abu Dhabi incident traumatic, also stated that he holds no grudges against Verstappen. But given both drivers' claim statements, it leaves much to wonder that the pair are still making public digs at each other, as Verstappen took issue with Hamilton's claim that racing him is very different than racing a sensible Charles Leclerc, citing the 2021 Silverstone incident as an example. Responding to the claim, Verstappen said, "I think it's quite neat that at 37 years of age, you can still learn how to hit an apex. He is learning, so that is positive. It is also good for younger drivers to know that you're still learning when you're 37 years old." The Dutch driver went on to explain that the incident involving him and Hamilton was not the same as the one involving Hamilton and Leclerc. "You can clearly see in the footage what was different compared to last year. I think Charles gave him less space than I did last year, so that says it all. And in the end, Lewis was the one who got penalised last year, so there's no point talking about that either." Nonetheless, this has so far not been the only time that Verstappen has taken a dig at the 7-time champion this season, as the reigning F1 champion named Hamilton the biggest show-off in F1 when asked to complete a survey for the Dutch Grand Prix's official Instagram. However, given Mercedes' recent Grand Prix resurgence in the 2022 season, F1 fans will be hoping for more exciting duels between Verstappen and Hamilton. Do you think Lewis Hamilton's remark was a jibe? What do you think of Max Verstappen's response? Please share your opinions in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, the next one on your screen is worth watching.